In life, challenges are inevitable. People will upset us, circumstances will test our patience, and unexpected events will throw us off balance. But how we deal with these moments defines our character. When we react impulsively, we often relinquish control, not just of the situation but of ourselves. Responding, on the other hand, is an act of mastery. It's a decision, not a reflex. It's grounded in intention rather than emotion. And this, my friends, is where the true art lies. Imagine you're driving and someone cuts you off aggressively. A reaction would be to shout, gesture, or stew in frustration for the rest of the drive. But what does that accomplish? Your anger doesn't reach the other driver. It doesn't teach them a lesson or make them a better person. It only disturbs your own peace. Responding, however, is a deliberate choice. You pause, you acknowledge the surge of irritation and let it pass. Perhaps you think maybe they're rushing to an emergency or their behavior is their burden, not mine. In responding, you retain your equilibrium. You control the narrative of your day. One of the most powerful tools for mastering this art is the practice of pausing. The pause is deceptively simple, yet transformative. When something provokes you, take a breath. That single moment of stillness creates a gap between stimulus and response. It's in that gap where freedom resides. You're no longer a puppet to your emotions, but a conscious actor choosing your course of action. Let me share another scenario. Suppose someone insults you, either directly or indirectly. Our ego often takes these moments as personal attacks, and the temptation to retaliate can be overwhelming. But what if you paused? What if you reminded yourself that their words reflect them, not you? A Stoic response might be to stay silent, to smile, or to calmly reply, "I'm sorry you feel that way." You're not ignoring the situation. You're disarming it. You're choosing not to fuel the fire, but to extinguish it with grace. Now, this doesn't mean we suppress our emotions or pretend they don't exist. On the contrary, we acknowledge them fully. But we don't let them dictate our actions. Think of your emotions as weather passing through. Anger might be a thunderstorm, but it's not permanent. Sadness might be a heavy fog, but the sun will eventually break through. Recognize these feelings, but don't let them drive the car. You're the one at the wheel. One of the greatest challenges in responding rather than reacting is dealing with difficult people. We've all encountered individuals who seem to thrive on conflict, who push our buttons and test our limits. The Stoic approach to these encounters is not to engage in their chaos, but to remain anchored in our own calm. Picture yourself as a rock in the ocean. The waves crash against you, but you remain unmoved. Their behavior doesn't define your response. Your values do. The same principle applies to life's unexpected setbacks. Let's say you lose a job, face financial difficulties, or experience a failure. Reacting might involve panic, blame, or self-pity. But responding requires a shift in perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you might ask, "What can I learn from this?" Or, "How can I use this as an opportunity to grow?" Responding allows us to transform obstacles into stepping stones. To master this art, self-awareness is crucial. How often do we react out of habit rather than thought? How often do we let external events control our internal state? Self-awareness shines a light on these tendencies, enabling us to catch ourselves in the act and make a conscious shift. Journaling is an excellent tool for this. Reflect on moments when you reacted impulsively. What triggered you? How could you have responded differently? With time, this practice rewires your mind, making thoughtful responses your default. Another key is to detach from outcomes. Much of our reactivity stems from an attachment to how things should be. We want events to unfold in our favor, people to act as we expect, and life to meet our desires. But the world doesn't operate according to our preferences. When we accept this truth, we free ourselves from unnecessary frustration. Responding becomes easier when we're not clinging to a specific outcome. We focus instead on what's within our control, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes. Consider this: every situation, no matter how challenging, is an opportunity to practice this art. It's like a muscle that strengthens with use. The more you choose to respond rather than react, the more natural it becomes. Over time, you'll find that even the most provocative circumstances lose their power to unsettle you. You'll approach life with a sense of calm confidence, knowing that you are the master of your own mind. This mastery isn't about perfection. We're human, and there will be moments when we falter. But the goal isn't to never react. It's to react less, to learn, and to grow. The art of responding, not reacting, is a lifelong journey. It's not about changing the world around us, but about transforming the world within. The practice of responding rather than reacting is not just about maintaining external composure. It's about cultivating internal resilience. It's about training yourself to withstand the chaos of the world without letting it disturb your inner peace. This doesn't happen overnight, of course. It's a discipline, one that requires patience, reflection, and consistent effort. Yet the rewards are profound, not only for you, but for everyone around you. Think about how this practice impacts your relationships, whether it's with family, friends, or colleagues. Your ability to respond thoughtfully can completely change the dynamics. For instance, during an argument with a loved one, the natural reaction might be to escalate, to defend your point of view aggressively. But stepping back, pausing, and responding with empathy transforms the conflict into an opportunity for understanding. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," you might say, "I feel unheard, and I'd like us to work on better communication." This shift doesn't just de-escalate the argument, it builds trust and respect. In professional settings, responding rather than reacting can elevate your leadership skills. Imagine being in a high-pressure meeting where a colleague criticizes your work. Reacting impulsively might lead to defensiveness or even anger, damaging your credibility. But responding calmly, acknowledging their point, and presenting your perspective with clarity shows emotional intelligence. People respect those who remain composed under pressure. Your response becomes a reflection of your professionalism and maturity. There's a deeper layer to this practice, one that extends to how we treat ourselves. How often do we react harshly to our own mistakes, berating ourselves with negative self-talk? "Why did I do that? I'm such an idiot." This inner critic can be relentless. But what if we responded to ourselves with the same compassion we'd offer a friend? What if, instead of reacting with self-judgment, we paused and said, "I made a mistake, and that's okay. What can I learn from this?" This shift not only reduces self-inflicted stress, but also fosters self-growth. When you master responding to your own imperfections, you unlock a deeper sense of self-worth. The art of responding also transforms how we perceive time. When we react impulsively, we're often stuck in the immediacy of the moment, driven by short-term emotions. But responding invites us to take a broader view, to think long-term. Will this situation matter a week from now, a year from now? Most of the things we react to are fleeting, insignificant in the grand scheme of life. By choosing to respond, we focus our energy on what truly matters, aligning our actions with our values. Let's also consider the role of gratitude in this practice. When we react, we're often operating from a place of lack, what we don't have, what we didn't get, what went wrong. Responding, however, invites us to shift our perspective to abundance. Instead of reacting to an inconvenience, we can respond with gratitude for what's still good. Stuck in traffic? It's a chance to listen to an inspiring podcast. Facing a tough day at work? It's an opportunity to develop resilience and problem-solving skills. Gratitude reframes challenges, making it easier to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. One of the profound benefits of mastering this art is the sense of freedom it brings. When you respond rather than react, you're no longer a prisoner of your environment. You're not at the mercy of other people's moods, the unpredictability of events, or the ups and downs of life. You become unshakable. This doesn't mean you're indifferent or disconnected. On the contrary, you're deeply engaged with life, but from a place of strength and clarity. You're no longer tossed around by the waves, you're the captain of your ship. This freedom also allows you to focus your energy on creation rather than destruction. Reacting often leads to actions we later regret, words spoken in anger, decisions made in haste. Responding, however, creates space for thoughtful, constructive action. It allows you to build rather than break. It empowers you to turn conflicts into resolutions, failures into lessons, and obstacles into opportunities. Consider the ripple effect of this practice. When you respond calmly in a heated situation, you inspire others to do the same. Your composure becomes contagious. Imagine a family gathering where tensions are high. By choosing to respond with patience and kindness, you set the tone for the entire room. People feel safe, heard, and respected in your presence. Over time, your consistent responses can influence the culture of your relationships, your workplace, and even your community. Let's not forget the spiritual dimension of responding. Every moment we pause and choose a thoughtful response, we're practicing mindfulness. We're aligning ourselves with a higher purpose, stepping out of the chaos of the ego and into the clarity of the soul. Responding is a form of meditation in motion. It's a way of staying present, aware, and connected to what truly matters. It's a reminder that our lives are not defined by what happens to us, but by how we choose to meet those moments. This practice requires ongoing commitment. There will be days when it feels easy and days when it feels impossible. The key is to keep showing up, to keep trying. With each small victory, each moment of choosing to respond rather than react, you're building a foundation of inner peace and strength. Over time, you'll notice a shift, not just in how you handle life, but in how life feels to you. Challenges become less daunting. Relationships become more harmonious, and you, my friend, become a force of calm in a chaotic world. As we delve even deeper into the art of responding rather than reacting, let's reflect on how this practice ties into the very essence of human growth. Life is a series of tests. Each interaction, each challenge, and each moment of adversity is an opportunity to choose who we want to be. Will we be ruled by instinct, like animals that lash out in fear or anger? Or will we rise above, exercising the uniquely human gift of reason, reflection, and self-control? Responding rather than reacting isn't just about managing the small annoyances of daily life. It's about preparing ourselves for the bigger trials, the moments that define us. Imagine receiving devastating news, such as the loss of a loved one, the end of a cherished relationship, or a major failure in your personal or professional life. These moments can feel overwhelming, and reacting impulsively might mean succumbing to despair, anger, or blame. But responding, that requires resilience, courage, and the ability to step back and see the broader picture. It means recognizing that while the pain is real and valid, our next steps are what truly shape the story of our lives. One powerful example of responding can be seen in how we deal with criticism. Criticism, whether constructive or harsh, is something we all face. Our immediate reaction might be defensiveness or even counterattack. But responding to criticism with a clear mind allows us to extract the valuable lesson it might hold while discarding the negativity. Instead of saying, "Who are you to criticize me?" we can pause, breathe, and think, "Is there truth in this? What can I learn here?" This approach doesn't just disarm the critic, it transforms the situation into an opportunity for personal growth. Another profound aspect of responding lies in how we manage uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and uncertainty often triggers fear and anxiety. Reacting to uncertainty might lead us to make hasty decisions, cling to control, or spiral into worry about worst-case scenarios. Responding, however, invites us to embrace the unknown with a sense of curiosity and trust. It's not about ignoring the challenges that uncertainty brings, but about facing them with a calm and open mind. Responding to uncertainty means asking, "What can I do with what I have right now?" and focusing on the present rather than fixating on an uncertain future. Let's talk about time and how we choose to spend it. So much of our reactivity comes from being in a constant rush, feeling like there's never enough time. This urgency often leads to snap decisions, hurried words, and thoughtless actions. But responding rather than reacting involves slowing down. It's about recognizing that a moment of stillness is never wasted. It's an investment in clarity. When you take time to respond thoughtfully, you actually save time in the long run by avoiding mistakes, misunderstandings, and conflicts that might need to be fixed later. Responding rather than reacting also changes how we view control. Many of us react because we're trying to control things outside ourselves, other people's opinions, external circumstances, or even the outcome of a situation. But responding teaches us that true control lies within. We may not be able to change what happens to us, but we can always control how we interpret and respond to it. This shift from external to internal control is liberating. It means we're no longer tethered to the chaos of the outside world, but anchored in the stability of our inner selves. One of the most beautiful aspects of this practice is how it nurtures compassion. When we react, we're often focused on ourselves, our anger, our frustration, our sense of injustice. But responding invites us to step into the other person's shoes. It encourages us to ask, what might they be going through? Why are they acting this way? This doesn't mean we excuse bad behavior, but we approach it with understanding rather than judgment. Compassionate responding not only preserves our peace, but also has the power to soften others, to de-escalate tensions, and to build bridges where there were once walls. This art is also deeply tied to patience. In today's fast-paced world, patience is often undervalued. We want quick solutions, instant gratification, and immediate results. Reacting feeds into this impatience. It's fast, impulsive, and often unthinking. Responding, however, requires us to slow down, to endure discomfort without rushing to escape it. Patience gives us the space to choose wisely, to act in alignment with our values rather than our impulses. And in that space, we find not just better decisions, but a deeper sense of contentment. Another profound way this practice manifests is in how we deal with past regrets. Reacting to regret often means avoiding it, suppressing it, or allowing it to consume us with guilt. But responding to regret involves facing it honestly, learning from it, and using it as a guide for the future. It's about saying, yes, I made a mistake, but I'm not defined by it. I'm defined by how I grow from it. In this way, responding transforms regret from a source of pain into a catalyst for wisdom. Mastering the art of responding, not reacting, is also a powerful way to lead by example. Whether you realize it or not, people around you are watching how you handle life. Your children, your colleagues, your friends, they all take cues from your behavior. When you respond thoughtfully, you're not just improving your own life, you're inspiring others to do the same. You're showing them what it means to live with grace, dignity, and strength. And perhaps the most rewarding aspect of this practice is how it helps us connect with our higher selves. When we respond thoughtfully, we align our actions with our deepest values. We act not out of fear, anger, or ego, but out of love, wisdom, and purpose. Each thoughtful response becomes a step closer to the person we aspire to be. It's a journey of self-mastery, one response at a time. As we deepen our exploration of mastering the art of responding, not reacting, let's turn to how this practice integrates with the rhythm of daily life. Each day is a canvas filled with countless moments, some mundane, some challenging, and others deeply impactful. These moments form the fabric of our lives, and our responses to them define the patterns of our existence. This art, then, isn't a skill to be summoned only in extreme situations. It's a philosophy to be infused into every action, every decision, every interaction. Take something as simple as starting your morning. The way we begin our day often sets the tone for everything that follows. Perhaps you wake up to an alarm that jolts you from sleep, already triggering a sense of rush or annoyance. A reactive approach might involve groaning, hitting snooze repeatedly, or scrambling out of bed with a mind cluttered by stress. A responsive approach, however, begins with intention. You open your eyes and pause. You take a moment to breathe, to anchor yourself in gratitude for another day. Before you've even left your bed, you've chosen your mindset, setting a foundation of calm and clarity. This principle applies to how we approach work. Deadlines, demanding clients, and unforeseen obstacles often bring out our reactive tendencies. We might snap at a colleague, rush through tasks, or feel overwhelmed by frustration. But responding transforms work into an arena for mindfulness and growth. When faced with pressure, we pause, prioritize, and proceed deliberately. Instead of seeing stress as an enemy, we frame it as an opportunity to sharpen our focus and resilience. Even in a chaotic environment, responding allows us to create an inner sense of order. Consider also how this practice enriches our time with loved ones. Our relationships are often the most significant yet challenging areas of life. Misunderstandings, unmet expectations, or simply differences in personality can lead to conflict. Reacting might mean shouting in anger, withdrawing in silence, or letting resentment fester. But responding invites us to approach these moments with curiosity rather than judgment. Instead of saying, "You always do this," we might ask, "Help me understand why you feel this way." Instead of retreating into our own hurt, we lean into connection. This doesn't mean avoiding difficult conversations. It means having them with empathy and respect. The art of responding nurtures trust, deepens bonds, and fosters an environment where love can thrive. Let's not overlook how this practice reshapes our relationship with ourselves. Often, we are our own harshest critics, reacting to our perceived failures with blame and negativity. Responding, however, encourages us to meet ourselves with kindness. When we stumble, instead of thinking, "I'm so useless," we might say, "I'm human and I'm learning." When faced with a daunting goal, rather than reacting with fear, we respond with courage. "I may not have all the answers, but I'll take one step at a time." This shift from self-criticism to self-compassion transforms not only how we see ourselves, but also how we show up in the world. In the realm of parenting, the art of responding is a gift to both parent and child. Children, with their boundless energy and unpredictable behavior, often test our patience. A reactive parent might yell or impose discipline out of frustration, but a responsive parent pauses to understand. Why is my child acting out? What do they need in this moment? By responding, we model the very behavior we wish to instill in our children: calm, thoughtful, and kind. This approach doesn't just resolve conflicts, it builds a foundation of mutual respect and understanding. The same principles extend to our health and well-being. When we face discomfort, be it physical pain, stress, or illness, our initial reaction might be to avoid or suppress it. We might overeat, distract ourselves with screens, or ignore the signals our body is sending. But responding means tuning in. What is my body telling me? How can I support my health in this moment? This mindful approach to well-being not only helps us address the root causes of discomfort, but also fosters a deeper connection with our bodies and minds. Responding also transforms how we engage with the larger world. We live in a time of constant noise, news alerts, social media, advertisements, all vying for our attention and often triggering emotional reactions. It's easy to get caught up in outrage, fear, or comparison. But responding allows us to step back and ask, what truly matters here? What deserves my energy and focus? Instead of being swept away by the tide of external influences, we anchor ourselves in our values. This not only preserves our peace, but also empowers us to act with purpose. And let's not underestimate the impact of this practice on our legacy. How do we want to be remembered? As someone who was quick to anger, who let life's challenges dictate their behavior? Or as someone who met life with grace, who inspired others through their calm and thoughtful presence? Every time we choose to respond rather than react, we shape the story we leave behind. Our actions ripple out, influencing not just our immediate circle, but also future generations. Ultimately, this art is about creating harmony within ourselves, in our relationships, and in the world around us. It's about recognizing that while we cannot control everything, we can always control how we show up. It's about turning every challenge into an opportunity, every setback into a lesson, and every moment into a step toward the person we aspire to be. Mastering the art of responding is not just a skill, it's a way of life. It's a commitment to living with intention, integrity, and peace, moment by moment, choice by choice. To truly master the art of responding rather than reacting is to embrace a philosophy that transforms not only how we live, but also how we interact with the world around us. Every time we choose to respond thoughtfully, we are creating a ripple effect, one that impacts our relationships, our environment, and, most importantly, our own sense of peace and fulfillment. This practice isn't just a technique, it's a lifelong journey of self-mastery, a commitment to rise above the noise of impulsive emotions and external pressures to live a life of intention and purpose. Think about what this could mean for you personally. Imagine navigating through life with a steady heart and a clear mind. Imagine the strength you'll feel when you're no longer controlled by fleeting frustrations, temporary setbacks, or other people's behavior. Instead, you'll find yourself in control, not of the chaos around you, but of how you choose to respond to it. This kind of inner power is unshakable, and it's available to anyone willing to cultivate it. You don't need perfection, you only need persistence. This practice is like planting seeds. Each moment you pause, breathe, and respond, instead of reacting, is like watering those seeds. Over time, they grow into a garden of calm, clarity, and resilience. It's a space where you'll find not only peace, but also the wisdom to handle life's challenges with grace. And the beauty of this journey is that the more you commit to it, the more natural it becomes. What once required effort and intention becomes your instinctive way of being, a testament to your growth. And let's not forget the profound impact this has on those around you. Your calm presence can be a light in someone else's storm. Your ability to respond rather than react inspires others to do the same. Whether it's within your family, among friends, at work, or even with strangers, your thoughtful actions create a ripple effect. This is how change begins, not by trying to control others, but by setting an example of what it means to live with intention and purpose. As you reflect on everything we've discussed, remember that this journey is not about never faltering. It's about learning and growing with every experience. There will be days when you react impulsively, and that's okay. What matters is how you choose to move forward. Each moment is a new opportunity to pause, to think, and to act with clarity and purpose. If this message resonated with you and you're inspired to explore more ways to live a thoughtful, intentional life, we'd love for you to join our community. Make sure to like this video, as it helps us reach more people who might benefit from this conversation. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss another deep dive into topics like this one. And if you know someone who could use a little more peace and perspective in their life, feel free to share this video with them. Finally, we'd love to hear from you. Have you had moments where you chose to respond rather than react? What challenges do you face in practicing this art? Let us know in the comments below, and let's continue the conversation. Together, we can build a community of thoughtful, intentional individuals striving to make the world a little calmer, one moment at a time. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you in the next video.